I've spent the last 8 years mastering how to become a habitually positive thinker because of the environment that I grew up in and things that happened to me in my childhood, in my teens, and in my early 20s. And here's what I learned. There's actually 7 simple things that you can do to improve your positive thinking. It doesn't involve NLP or anything related to science. And I love those things. It's actually more simple than that. And I'm going to give them to you today. But first I want to know, are you someone that struggles with your thoughts and you think, man, this is not going to work out? Or why would I even try, because it doesn't even make sense? Does it put you in like a depressed state where you don't want to do anything or try to pursue your goals because you don't see the point in doing it? That was me too. But I've always been ambitious. And so because of that, anytime someone came to me with anything that could try to improve my thinking, I was there to listen. So I had a friend of mine who came to me. I might have been like 25, and she was into spirituality and things like that. And she gave me the secret. So the secret, and my pastor, he was kind of like my mentor too. He was always talking about, mindset and things like that. He was a good pastor. Thinking is a skill. This is what I learned between the secret and my pastor. Thinking is a skill. And just like anything, you have to practice at that skill to make it better. And so that's the one thing I want you to know. Thinking is a skill. Don't think you can't improve your thinking and that it's going to be so hard to do and it requires all of these different things. You hear about limiting beliefs. You hear about all these other things, but there's simple things that you can do. I'm going to give them to you. But I want you to understand the fundamental difference between worrying and confidence is that worrying focuses on what you don't want and confidence focuses on the outcome that you do want. So we've all heard the saying that it takes 21 days to start a habit and 14 days to break one. I don't know if that's true. It could be or it couldn't be, but I'm going to give you 7 proven things that you can do that work through my experience. And it's really not that hard, and you can start doing them today. So the number one thing you can do is associate with positive people. Everyone knows, or if you don't know, you've probably heard this before, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And that also goes with income. So if you think about the 5 people you hang out with most, you're going to be similar to what they do and how they think and how they move throughout life. And then if you get their income and ask them what their income is, your average income is going to be, the average income between all of them is going to be what your income is. So that's why it's huge. That's why the number one thing is to associate with positive people, simply because you want to be the average of some people that are great. Like if I can be the average of, a person who's at 500 million and a billionaire, I mean, I'm doing pretty good. So that's the number one thing. That's something you can start doing right now. It's very easy that you can start cutting out people that are out of your life and to change your average. You might want to go to some seminars to try to meet like-minded people. So you can, once you start cutting people out, you got to try to replace them with, a better average. Number 2, listen to optimistic people. Don't listen to pessimists. I would tell you this. If you don't have any haters, you're not doing enough, right? Because people generally only hate on people that's doing better than them. So get more haters, because if you have more haters, that means you're doing something enough for them to hate on and be jealous of, because that's all hating is people that are jealous because they didn't put the work in, or they're just like, how come this person can do this and I can't? That's what it is. And then as far as like not listening to pessimists, that's a real thing, man. Like, I don't want to name names, but I used to have people in my life in my 20s that always had something negative to say. And at some point I just cut them out. And that's kind of why now I'm like a lone wolf in a lot of things that I do, because I can't speak negative things against myself, right? That would be stupid, even though that's kind of what I used to be. But when you start learning these habits and you start surrounding yourself with positive people, it's almost impossible for you to be thinking negative about yourself, because you're not even, in that particular state. And that's kind of what you're going to learn by going through these 7 steps. One of them is for sure going to make sure that you're always in a positive state. Number 3, associate with people who are ahead of you in their growth. A person who's ahead of you is not going to hate. The likelihood that person ahead of you is going to talk negative to you is very small. Like, it wouldn't even make sense. Especially it's like this. If a person is 1 step ahead of you, they're more than likely, or even 2 steps ahead of you, they're more than likely going to give you the steps that they did to get where they are. That's the beauty of hanging out with somebody who's not on your level, because most of the time people want to reach down. That's what I've learned with millionaires and people that have just, even athletes, anybody that's gotten better and they had I would say they came from a similar place that you did. They want to figure out how they can help you. But first they want to know that you're serious. Like, they want to add value to your life only if you're serious, because most of the time people that are progressing in life, that are growing, they don't really have a lot of time to waste. But I'm 100% positive most of them want to reach back and give to the person that's below them. So try to find somebody who is maybe 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of you in your growth, and they'll more than likely look out for you. I mean, I just remember a couple times people that were ahead of me that were just even older in age, and I always look up. In my videos, you can see me looking up, because this is a part of NLP. I'm just gonna say this real fast. I'm just recalling memories. So when I'm looking up and to the right, I'm recalling memories. And so that's why I kind of look up in my videos, or I look around, because I'm pulling information from different parts of my brain, just to give you context. But anyway, I would just remember people would give me books, or they would give me podcasts or different things to do. I remember, and again, I'm gonna mention my pastor, because he was one of those people that were pivotal in my life, because he gave me the first book called The Millionaire Mind. That book changed my whole outlook, because then I understood that most millionaires are self-made, and they were like C students. They dropped out of college. They're dumber than people think they are. They just know how to follow systems. And so that's the misconception that I think people think, is that in order for you to become a millionaire, you got to be some rocket science. But no, pick up the book, The Millionaire Mind, and you'll see that most of the people in there were C students. Like, they just went to college and they learn how to network and build relationships. That's one of the beautiful things about going to college. But anyway, he enrolled me in a money magazine called Kiplinger. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. So he just did small things like this that just kind of changed up my mindset, because I used to be a hustler, but he was like, education is the key. And so that's kind of one of the things that I did, and that's what he did for me. So they always reach down. If they see that you're hungry and you got potential, they're going to reach down for sure and give you different things that you can do. Number 4, embrace change. You can't improve and not change at the same time. It's impossible. So don't be scared that you're going to lose people, or be in a different environment, or meet new people. That's the whole fucking point, right? Obviously what you're doing is not working. So you obviously need to change in order for you to get the desired outcome that you want. So embrace change, because in many aspects, being in a comfort zone is going to cause you to 2 things: have an early death physically, and then it's going to lead to an early death in other aspects of your life, whether it be relationships, finances, or different things like that. So I would, embrace change, because obviously what you're doing is not providing you the results that you want in life. You can't do the same thing. Like, you just got to make sure you move forward and don't be in your comfort zone. And that goes to number 5. The 5th point is, remember that there can be no growth without change. So just think about everything in life like this, just natural progressions of life. A baby's born, it turns into an adult. You plant a seed, the seed turns into a tree, it bears fruit. You cut the grass grows back. If you think about everything in the natural world that stays the same, what happens? It eventually dies, or it doesn't reach its full potential. So when you're thinking about you not changing in life, there's only 2 things that can happen. The things that I just said. You're going to not reach your full potential, or you're going to die. Like, those are the things that are going to happen. That's just the natural progression of life. And I think when people look at life as a whole, they don't look at it from just a natural point or natural state of, just look at life from a natural point of view, and don't think about the materialistic things of life, because that's not really how life works, right? Like, you have seasons in life. Look at winter, fall, spring, depending on where you are. You're going to have these different cycles. And that's kind of what it is. Like, you have these different cycles in life, and those are supposed to be cycles of change. And if you're not having those, then again, based on what I just said, you're just not going to see progress. Number 6, eliminate practices of creating a crisis that don't exist. How many times did you think to yourself something was going to end and it worked out? I'm going to give you a quick reframe if you're watching this video for whatever issues that you've had in life, or whatever issues that you face in life. If you're listening to this podcast or watching this video on YouTube right now, that means anything that you've ever went through in life and failed at, it obviously worked out, because you would not be sitting here watching this video right now. That's a complete reframe for anything that you can ever think about in your life as far as a crisis that you might be like, man, I don't know if it's going to work out, or this didn't work out. It always works out. And you sitting here listening to this podcast or watching this video is living proof that it always works out, because if it didn't, you wouldn't be here. So use that as a reframe when it comes to eliminating practices, and it's a lot easier said than done. I know when you're going through something, it's like a lot of people will tell you what I'm saying right now, and it's so much harder to do when you're going through it. And I'll give you an example. In a video that I just did, I was trying to sell a house. It took 9, almost 10 months to sell one house. That's never ever happened to me in my whole entire real estate career. It was 3 or 4 people that the deal fell out at the closing table. Each time, the day of closing, the deal fell out. That's never ever happened to me. Even the people that I was talking to, the real estate agents and the person that eventually bought the house, was like, I know you're going through it. It's just never ever happened. But that's how life goes, right? It'll throw you curveballs of things that never happened, but it worked out, and it worked out in my favor when it did work out. But that entire time, yeah, I was struggling. I was having a hard time. I was trying to figure out different ways to keep my mind off the situation, because eventually I knew it was going to work out. And that's what happened. So that's one of the things that you got to do when you're in crisis mode. Make sure you're active. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying, shit is tough when you're trying to establish a business, or when you're going through life. Life is hard, but it's a lot easier when you're distracted. And so he was saying he wanted to get back on the road and start traveling more because things were easier. I said, no, things aren't easier. What was happening is that you're distracted. So when you're traveling or when you're focusing on something else, you're not thinking about the crisis at hand. You're thinking about where you are or what you're doing at the time. And so that's kind of why I was like, you got to just make sure that you're busy, and you just got to just constantly be like making improvements to your life, because when you're doing that, it's almost impossible for you to dwell on the crisis. And so take a look at that video. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll talk about, I think it was about real estate agents and the difficulty that I had dealing with real estate agents, and me not wanting to do business anymore. I think even in that video, you could tell I was going through something, because I said, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't be an entrepreneur. And I was lying, because I don't know if I can't do anything else. Based on my personality type, I can't do anything else. But at the time, you can see in that video, I was having a moment where I was like, man, I wouldn't do this again. I would give it all up. And so that was just proof of me going through my own experience. And you can see it in that video where I was going through my experience, but now I'm telling you this in this video. So you'll go through these cycles as a business owner, and you probably heard it before. It just comes in waves, man. And so that's why a lot of businesses fail, because you don't have the mental capacity, or you don't have the ability to positively think in a situation like that. And so then you be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to give up, and you're going to bow out. And so that's kind of why I think doing these type of things right here will just help you navigate when you go through these pitfalls and these issues in your business where you want to give up. And so number 7, last but not least, practice making positive expectations part of your daily life. I really believe everything that I touch or that I create is going to be successful. No one can tell me that. And it's based on my experiences that I've gone through. And it goes back to what I just said right now. If you're here, it's because it all worked out. So you just have to believe that anything that you do is going to work out. Because why would it not? There's nothing preventing it from happening at all. You always hear me say, feedback is the only thing that's going on. So when you have feedback, it's just the universe or the natural way of life telling you what you need to change. Because if you change whatever it is, if you get constant feedback of whatever you got to do and you keep tweaking it, you are bound to be successful, because you just keep following the feedback that you're getting from the practices that you're doing that aren't working. So then you just start to eliminate certain things over and over again, so that eventually the feedback is going to be positive. So then you could always expect whatever you're going through to work out, if long as you keep following the steps and long as you keep making the tweaks based on the feedback that you're getting. So every single day, you need to practice positive expectations. That could be from you just doing daily affirmations, or just making sure that whatever you're doing, you're paying attention to the feedback that you're getting. I would say this: the only way that you don't become successful is if you just stop doing whatever it is that you're doing. You are 100% sure gonna fail. That's it. So when you think about things like that, and I talk about reframing a lot is because when you reframe, you're able to manage expectations. You're basically putting yourself into a positive outlook because you just reframe anything negative with a positive. That's the number one step that you can do. I think that these are the 7 steps that anybody can do. It doesn't require NLP. It doesn't require anything but you stepping out of your comfort zone. That's the number one reason why most people fail, because they're so comfortable in whatever their situation is. And I heard Miles Monroe say, whatever you tolerate will never change. And so most people tolerate a lot of things. And it's like any kind of relationship that you're in, if you tolerate what's going on, it'll always be the same. Most people don't leave their situation until they come to a breaking point where they're like, I can't take it anymore. I'm done. And that's what happens. Success operates in the same way. So these are the 7 principles, not even principles. These are the 7 things that I think you could do to actually move into having a habitually positive thinking with anything that you do in life. I think that these 7 principles will increase your positive thinking, and each one is designed to help you break free from limiting beliefs. These 7 steps, I promise, will increase your thinking skills. Each one is designed to help you break free from self-doubt in different ways. I know you're thinking, it's easier than you think it is. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you free daily activities that you can do and a roadmap that's backed by science. It's gonna be a step-by-step guide with daily activities and actual milestones that you can quantify. There's gonna be no guesswork, just a framework. As long as you follow what I'm gonna give you, I guarantee you that you will be successful in changing your thought process and becoming a habitually positive thinker. Click the link in the description below. You will get a PDF sent to you that's gonna break down in more detail, well beyond the 7 steps that I just said. It's gonna give you a step-by-step guide in what to do. Thank me later, and I'll say this: I hope that you have a transformation like mine, but better, and you become successful at whatever it is that you try to do based on these 7 steps and the step-by-step guide that you're gonna get if you click the link in the description below. So until next time, take advantage of the guide and take care.